Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the top stories we have for you tonight. A 10-year-old boy on St. Thomas loses his life in a horrible fire. 6 people feared dead after a helicopter crash near Puerto Rico. And Stanley tramps it up with his Knights. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, a 10-year-old boy who was severely burned in the Anna's Retreat home on St. Thomas died from his injuries yesterday afternoon. Today, Lee Carl interviews a fire official in the aftermath of this tragic story.
I'm in the Anna's Retreat area where a fairly brand new house caught flames on Sunday, and fire services were out to put out the flames. Unfortunately, a grandmother and other relatives were in the building but got out. But a 10-year-old didn't right away. When he finally got out, he had third-degree burns in his body. He was taken to the hospital and then attempted to be flown to Puerto Rico, but he expired on the way on the plane and had to be brought back here. Here is the Fire Services Director, Executive Director Daryl George, as I spoke to him on the phone immediately after the event.
On December 19, 2010, at approximately 7:20 a.m., 2 units from Lima Company responded to a structural fire at 215-295 Anna's Retreat. Upon arrival, firefighters found the structure fully engulfed with flames with heavy smoke coming from the house. Crews began extinguishment of the fire and brought it under control within 20 minutes. Firefighter also assisted in the treatment of a burn victim that was then turned over to EMS and transported to the Royal Esther Snyder Hospital for treatment. Fire crews began salvage and overhaul of the house, and the arson and prevention unit was called into the scene to determine the cause and origin of the fire. This morning, fire service was notified that the victim died of his injuries. On behalf of the Virgin Islands Fire Service family, we send our deepest condolences out to the family and friends of the victim.
In St. Thomas at Anna's Retreat, the scene of a fire that killed a 10-year-old child. Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee Carl. And in other news, at least 1 person is dead and 5 others are missing after a Puerto Rico National Guard helicopter went down last night between Vieques and Puerto Rico. News Channel 8's Wes Small has that story and an exclusive story of an Air Force jet that overturned a small plane at the Henry Rawson Airport.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. There's 2 stories I want to talk about, and first I want to talk about the lighter one. We're here at Henry Rawson Airport. You see the plane now upside down, and now I want to show you the U.S. Air Force plane, a huge one, a C-130 or C-4, something like that. When that plane took off, it knocked the small plane down. You could see that right there, that small plane is still on its back. That plane will have to stay there until the FAA lands, both planes, the Air Force and that one. This incident happened about 5 o'clock this morning, we were told. Fortunately, no one got hurt right here next to the Fire and Rescue Department, the VI Port Authority. Again, the plane cannot be moved until, you see the police wire there, until FAA investigators get to the scene. It is a U.S. Air Force jumbo right there. They use this area to refuel and so forth as they go on rescue missions, and they now cannot move until FAA investigators come. Now the gate's going to close. I want to thank the security guard, the VI Port Authority, and also Fire and Rescue for helping News Channel 8 get this exclusive report. If you're just joining us around 5 o'clock this morning, that U.S. Air Force jet reared up his engines, and the velocity of that force knocked that tiny single plane. It's a privately owned plane on its upside down. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Now I have some very sad news for you, and it also has to deal with aeronautics. Some very disturbing news, like I preluded before. We have a chopper that's been known to help our area out. A National Guard chopper, a Puerto Rico National Guard chopper went down between Vieques and Puerto Rico earlier. Sadly, it doesn't look good. There were 2 crewmen in that plane. We're trying to get some more information as we can. Sadly, it looks like the bodies are being recovered. They're still searching right now. The last transmission from that Puerto Rico National Guard plane early this morning went as follows. We are 400 feet above the surface. We are returning because of bad weather. And then it went out. Not good news. Not good news for our neighbors in Puerto Rico and the National Guard, our sisters and brothers that help us fight our war on crime and look for missing people out in the waters and so forth. That is definitely going to put a blow to our emergency responders in our territory. So let we have a moment of silence for them, because they definitely help us out when we go astray, out missing, and our fishermen and so forth. So we're feeling it today for that. So with that, you're caught up. Now you're caught up on this. Fortunately, no one was hurt. That huge Air Force jet knocking that small plane down early this morning, no one hurt. And then tragically, it looked like we could have lost 2 crew members from the Puerto Rico National Guard, our neighbors that help us in emergency situations, as a chopper went down around 400 feet above the surface. Probably bad weather. I want to remind you, we do have unsettling weather in our area at this time. If we have any more to give you on these late-breaking stories, Jerome will do that. Back to the newsroom. I'm Wes Small from Henry Rolson Airport for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And a correction on that story. The spokesperson for the Coast Guard, Diane Spitaleri, who informed us that the UH-72 Lakota helicopter was carrying 3 crew members, 1 guard, and 2 civilians. The 2 civilians are believed to be prosecutors. The craft was located 1 nautical mile from Puerto Rico's coast, and rescue efforts are still ongoing tonight. And an early morning raid in Queens Quarter area, St. Croix yesterday. Members of the Virgin Islands Police Department, the FBI, the DEA, and the Virgin Islands Port Authority all converged on 159 Diamond Ruby and the Carib Villas in Christiansted. 31-year-old Wayne and brother Dwayne Dennis had been convicted prior for the distribution of a controlled substance in 1999. There, the authorities found a half a pound of cocaine, 10 pounds of marijuana, 1 machine gun, a bulletproof vest, assorted ammunition, and over $1,000 in cash. The twins remain in the Golden Grove prison tonight. And a quick announcement before we go. Members of the Next Generation Leadership Coalition will be holding a press conference tomorrow, December 22nd at 10 a.m. at the Alliance Customer Service Center conference room at 228 Strand Street, Frederiksted. The purpose of the press conference is to officially announce the creation of the coalition, as well as discuss its missions and objectives. And when we come back from this break, we'll take a look at the winner of the Charles Emanuel contest. Stay with us on Channel 8.